Let's be honest, your motorcycle says more about you than your therapist ever could. Today, we're counting down 13 motorcycle brands that brutally expose who you really are. Whether you're a rebel, a spreadsheet warrior, or just deep in a midlife crisis, so buckle up and stay till the end, because this roast cuts deep, especially if it's your bike. Number 13, CF Moto Ownership. Owning a CF Moto isn't just a decision, it's a declaration. You didn't walk into a dealership searching for heritage or legacy. You saw the price tag, nodded, and said, "That's enough motorcycle for me." Your ride is less about branding and more about maximum horsepower per dollar, even if it comes wrapped in suspicious plastics and Cold War-grade electronics. Let's face it, CF Moto Ownership is like strapping optimism to a crankshaft. You're the guy at the bike meet who hears, "Wait, what is that?" at least 3 times an hour. Some call it a clone, some call it a knockoff. But you call it paid off. And while the early models had all the structural integrity of a wet cardboard box, the newer machines, surprisingly decent. That KTM partnership, it actually counts for something now. Your toolbox is full of zip ties, duct tape, and maybe a spare fuse you hope never to need. You don't care about impressing the Ducati guys or flexing with carbon fiber. You care about riding, and CF Moto lets you do that without mortgaging your spine. Sure, the resale value is laughable. Yes, your owner's manual might as well be written in Mandarin haiku, but your bike starts, goes, and keeps going. You're the underdog and proud of it. You defend your ride like it's your child in every online forum. And while the haters are still waiting for their parts or payday, you're already 200 miles into your weekend. But as brave as CF Moto riders are, some motorcyclists have taken things even further, into the land of the bizarre, the forgotten, and the absolutely unexplainable. Number 12, Moto Guzzi Ownership. Owning a Moto Guzzi is like keeping a typewriter in your garage. Charming, a bit temperamental, and absolutely not for everyone. It's not the fastest, it's not the flashiest, but it speaks to you in whispers of heritage and stubborn Italian engineering. You didn't choose Moto Guzzi for LAP times. You chose it for soul, for the transverse V-twin thump, the shaft drive whine, and the way it rumbles like a well-aged bottle of red. While others obsess over upgrades, you're reading wiring diagrams like scripture, wondering if your neutral light is broken or just on strike. Guzzi riders are timeless oddballs. You brew espresso at gas stations. You know what Mandello dell'Ario means without Googling it. You've probably named your motorcycle something like Giovanni and argue about clutch feel like it's a philosophy debate. Your bike doesn't scream down highways. It contemplates them, humming along like it's translating an old Italian poem with every shift. The dash might look like it belongs in an 80s arcade cabinet, but to you, that's part of the charm. You didn't buy a bike. You adopted a relic with character, quirks, and possibly a minor oil leak. You're not chasing trends. You're chasing sunsets, vibrations, and the kind of joy that only comes from something a little flawed, but deeply soulful. But while Moto Guzzi riders are the philosophers of the motorcycle world, some riders are more like the nostalgic poets, lost in time, leaking oil, and loving every minute of it. Number 11, Royal Enfield Ownership. Royal Enfield Ownership says, you're not in a rush because cool doesn't need a turbo. You didn't choose this bike for speed. You chose it because it thumps like a war drum and looks like it was parked outside a 1940s cafe for 80 years. You're not chasing apexes. You're chasing ambience. Your ride sounds like it runs on Earl Grey and Empire flashbacks. And honestly, that's part of the charm. You've heard it all. It's a tractor. It leaks more than it rides. Real bikes don't need a toolkit on the handlebars. But while others chase lap times, you're collecting glances at red lights and conversations at gas stations. Yes, you might own a leather vest. No, you're not in a biker gang, unless slow-motion daydreaming counts. You ride for the soul, the story, the sepia-toned aesthetic. Your Enfield doesn't go fast, but it does go deep. Every oil stain, character, every misfire, personality, every ride, a cinematic montage with better sound design. You're not a spec sheet warrior, you're a vintage vibe dealer. While others flex horsepower, you flex heritage. Let the sport bike bros scream past at 140. You'll be in the slow lane, thumping toward a coffee stop, giving side eyes to modern plastics like they insulted your grandpa. You didn't buy a motorcycle, you bought a legacy. And if that legacy smells faintly of petrol and mustache wax, even better. And if you're a Ducati rider laughing at all the other bikes so far, don't get too comfy, your turn's coming. Just wait until number 4. But for now, go ahead and like the video and hit subscribe, because we're just getting started. As a Royal Enfield rider, you've embraced the thumb, the leaks, and the leather vest fantasy. Respect. But let's be real, not everyone wants to rumble along at tractor pace on a bike that looks like it was issued by the British Raj. Some riders crave speed, flash, and just a hint of main character energy, even if most of their rides end up as slow-motion Instagram reels with moody filters. Number 10, Yamaha Ownership. Yamaha Ownership says, you didn't come to blend in, you came to perform. You're not just a rider, you're a throttle-happy adrenaline artist with a taste for precision and just enough drama to make it interesting. Yamaha people are the red line romantics, banging off the limiter outside coffee shops like it's race day at Mugello. Our 6 riders? We know the type. Your bike screams speed, even if your lean angles say otherwise. You live for the wheelie in a parking lot moment, the GoPro footage with EDM soundtracks, and the perfect tunnel rev. Your tire edges are suspiciously untouched, but you ride like you're leading the championship. Confidence? Overwhelming. Skill? Developing. Entertainment value? Sky high. Then there's the R1 crew, especially the post-2015 cross-plane mafia. You're the track day faithful, the canyon carvers, the torque addicts. Your gear is leather. Your lines are clean. Your throttle hand has seen some things. You don't just rev, you make it count. Our 3 riders? Bright-eyed, fresh licensed, and full of ambition. You'll outgrow the bike before you finish paying it off. But the passion's real. It's where the fire starts, even if it's mostly fueled by YouTube and Red Bull. And let's not forget the R15 legend in India, Rossi stickers, full tucks, 30 mph, and more confidence than physics should allow. Skill level, variable. Vibe level, unmatched. What makes Yamaha riders different? You bring style to the speed. Your chain is clean. Your helmet matches your fairings. Your friends ride Yamahas, or they're tired of hearing why they should underneath the rev bombs and race leathers is real engineering, real pedigree, and a whole lot of heart. But not everyone's out here chasing apexes with MotoGP swagger. Some people ride to feel, not to flex. They want to feel in control, comfortable, maybe even a little wise, like they've got nothing to prove, but everything dialed in. And that's exactly what this next brand gives them. It makes them feel balanced, sensible, and just the right amount of badass, without screaming for attention. Let's talk about them. Number 9, Honda Ownership. Owning a Honda tells you one thing above all. You're not here for drama. You're here to ride. You're the quiet professional, the steady hand, the type of rider who actually reads the manual and probably has torque specs memorized in metric and imperial. You didn't buy a bike to flex. You bought a Honda because it works, every time. Rain or shine, Monday or Sunday, bone stock or 200,000 miles in, it just starts, and you love that. Other riders, they chase clout. You chase reliability. You're not trying to be the loudest in the lot. You're the one everyone calls when their bike won't start. Your chain is clean. Your brake fluid isn't brown. And your maintenance schedule, color-coded. The stereotype? Nice. Too nice. The kind of rider who waves at scooters and offers strangers zip ties from a perfectly organized saddlebag. The "you meet the nicest people on a Honda" slogan? Still true. You're approachable, helpful, drama-proof. But it's not all commuters and Goldwings. Some of you started on Rebels or Groms, bikes that look cute but bite ankles at stoplights. Some went full ST rider and disappeared into the back roads for a decade. And a few still haven't stopped talking about their 90s VFR. Other riders tease Honda for being appliance-like, too safe, too sensible. But they also know when their ECU fries, their tank leaks, and their triple tree welds fail, the Honda guy's already halfway to the campsite. Owning a Honda says you value function over flash. You don't need to prove anything. Your odometer does the talking. But not everyone's into this reliable and reasonable lifestyle. Some riders live on the edge, duct tape fairings, bouncing off rev limiters, and praying their engine holds together through the next gear shift. Because for them, subtlety is optional and line is a way of life. Number 8, Suzuki Ownership. Suzuki Ownership is the motorcycle equivalent of finding a samurai sword at a pawn shop. It might be a little scuffed, but it still slices like hell. You're not here for status, you're here for horsepower on a shoestring. Gixxer riders are basically urban legends in mesh jackets, shirtless at gas stations, popping wheelies past elementary schools, and insisting their decade-old bike is basically an R1 with more soul. Your fairings don't match, your turn signals are zip-tied on, and your idea of maintenance is, she hasn't blown up yet, so we're good. The rest of us love to roast you, and let's be honest, you make it so easy. But deep down, we know you're actually out there riding. Suzuki riders treat motorcycles like playground equipment. Ride hard, crash occasionally, fixed with duct tape, repeat. Underneath the chaos, there's something honest about you. You're not chasing clout, you're chasing the next ride. Whether it's an SV650 that refuses to die or a Busa that looks like it could time travel, your bike might be rough around the edges, but it's got soul. You're not polished, you're not perfect, but damn it, you're out there living it. Speaking of living fast and riding loud, let's talk about the people who appreciate soul, style, and a touch of British charm. The riders who polish their tanks like fine wine and treat their bikes like lifelong companions. Yep, it's time to dive into the world of Triumph owners. Number 7, Triumph Ownership. Triumph Ownership isn't just a motorcycle choice. It's a carefully curated lifestyle brand with an exhaust note. Your Bonneville isn't transportation, it's a vibe, a statement, a vintage filtered Instagram post in motion. You don't just ride, you arrive, preferably wearing waxed canvas and leather gloves that cost more than brake pads. Your helmet, hand-stitched by a third-generation artisan in a shed in the Cotswolds. Naturally, Triumph riders treat their bikes like adopted pets with backstories. Every scratch has meaning. Every mod has a narrative. You've named your Thruxton. You've written poetry about your Speed Twin. And you definitely own at least one jacket that's aged perfectly with the road. You organize bike nights, attend cafe racer meets, and casually drop phrases like British torque curve into conversations nobody asked for. You pretend not to care about performance numbers until someone disrespects your triple, and suddenly you're quoting dyno charts like scripture. Yes, your bike has quirks. Something's always buzzing. Your wiring looks like a Victorian telegraph, and you've accepted that one of your indicator bulbs is permanently possessed. But who cares? Because at the end of the day, you're not chasing speed, you're chasing soul. And honestly, you're doing it in style. Speaking of soulful passion and lifestyle-driven riders, let's talk about the people who treat motorcycling like a precise science. The ones who plan every mile, obsess over every bolt, and come equipped with more gear than a small army. These riders are all about engineering, comfort, and perfecting the ride, down to the last detail. Number 6, BMW Motorcycle Ownership. BMW riders approach motorcycling the way NASA approaches space launches, with spreadsheets, torque specs, and contingency plans for every conceivable weather pattern. You don't ride, you deploy. Your bike has more acronyms than a military briefing: ESA, ABS, DTC, TFT, SOS. and you can recite what each one does, like you're giving a TED Talk on German engineering. Your panniers are packed tighter than a Swiss Army knife, and your GPS is set to Starbucks 800 miles away. Just for fun, you wear full Klim suits that cost more than a small car and haven't smiled since you discovered a 0.2 psi difference in your tire pressure. Your garage is spotless. Your chain is cleaner than most people's dishes. You treat your service manual like scripture and torque wrenches like sacred relics. Other bikers tease you for being rigid, humorless, or possibly retired engineers with a secret fondness for bike. And let's not forget the eternal mystery. How can someone so precise never use their turn signals? But when the rain hits, when the road gets rough, or when someone actually needs help, guess who's prepared, calm, and already 5 steps ahead? BMW riders might lack chaos, but damn it, they ride like pros. From riders who approach every journey with precision and planning, let's turn to those fueled by adrenaline and a hunger for adventure. People who chase the wildest trails and proudly sport bright orange as their signature. Number 5, KTM Ownership. KTM Ownership isn't a motorcycle choice. It's a full-blown personality disorder, wrapped in plastic fairings and dipped in radioactive orange. Your idea of a chill Sunday ride involves scaling a cliff, jumping a creek, and possibly a minor hospital visit. Your bike sounds like a chainsaw on bath salts and rides like it's actively trying to kill you. And you love it. Pavement. That's just a boring inconvenience between the dirt sections. You treat gravel like racetracks and racetracks like therapy. KTM riders are fueled by Red Bull, poor judgment, and an unshakable belief that any obstacle is just a send waiting to happen. Your gear looks like it was designed by someone with a color blindness issue and a GoPro addiction. And we all know you haven't shut up about your suspension setup since 2022. Yes, your bike spends more time in the shop than your garage. Yes, the electronic system is held together by spite and zip ties. And yes, you've memorized at least 3 acronyms for check engine. But here's the thing, you ride like life's a race and tomorrow's not guaranteed. KTM riders don't just push limits, you obliterate them. From thrill seekers chasing the next wild ride and proudly rocking their signature orange, let's shift to the riders who crave more than speed. They want drama, style, and a bike that demands attention, whether you can afford it or not. Number 4, Ducati Ownership. Owning a Ducati is like dating a supermodel with commitment issues. Beautiful, thrilling, and guaranteed to drain your bank account and emotional stability. You don't ride a Ducati, you perform on one. That dry clutch rattle, not a defect. It's a mechanical symphony. Your single-sided swing arm, more important than your retirement plan. And let's not forget the iconic red paint that screams, "Yes, I'm faster than you, even when I'm broken down." You're either a tech exec with a carbon fiber addiction or someone who sold a kidney to afford Desmo valve service and now defends it like a sacred right. Your Instagram is 90% glam shots of your Panigale, 10% cafe lattes next to it, and not a single photo of actual riding. Yes, your thighs are medium rare by the end of every ride. Yes, your bike needs a priest and a mechanic on speed dial. And yes, everyone loves to tease you. But when that L-twin snarls and you're carving corners like you're qualifying for Mugello, no one's laughing. Because in that moment, you're not just riding, you're feeling something the rest of us only dream about. From the riders who treat their bikes like supermodels with attitude, let's move on to those who aren't just after flash. They want legacy, craftsmanship, and a subtle kind of swagger. These are the folks who know their history but still ride with quiet confidence and a little bit of edge. Number 3, Indian Ownership. Owning an Indian is more than just having a motorcycle. It's about preserving a legacy. You didn't buy a cruiser, you adopted a symbol of Americana, wrapped in chrome and dipped in nostalgia. It's Harley vibes with a library card, heritage with horsepower and a side of smug accuracy. You're the guy who says Indian was founded before Harley, like it's your zodiac sign. You casually drop phrases like pre-war flathead in conversations that didn't ask for them. Your motorcycle isn't a ride. It's a rolling tribute to 20th century American steel, complete with tassels, fringe, and enough retro styling to earn a museum placard. Your motorcycle doesn't blend in, it parades. Tassels, fringed leather, and Art Deco tank badges make it look like it just rolled out of a 1940s catalog. And every time someone mistakes it for a Harley, you seize the opportunity to give an impromptu history lesson, complete with polite correction and a touch of eye-roll restraint. You're not into burnouts or bar fights. You're into vintage marketing posters, thunderstroke engines, and explaining the difference between a chief and a chieftain twice. Your gear smells like aged leather and self-respect. Your mustache wax has seen more war movies than the average millennial. While Harleys shout, you nod quietly, commanding respect with vintage curves and tailored jackets. Sure, your bike might get more photos than miles, but at least it's not lost in a sea of identical baggers. Indian ownership isn't rebellion, it's reverence, a thesis in motion. While others chase trends, you revive tradition and look damn good doing it, but don't get too smug just yet. Because some ride for heritage, and some ride like they invented it. They think the road owes them respect. They think the roar of a V-twin is a birthright. Let's talk about those leather-wrapped loudspeakers. Number 2, Harley Ownership. Owning a Harley is a full-blown lifestyle crisis, wrapped in leather and idling at 6 a.m. You didn't buy a motorcycle. You pledged allegiance to a chrome cult, fueled by nostalgia, noise, and unresolved midlife turmoil disguised as engine mods. You don't roll through town, you invade it. Your bike doesn't have a horn because it is the horn. Every stoplight becomes a concert. Every rev, a declaration of independence, and every sleeping baby within 5 blocks, already working on revenge. Your vest has seen things. It's stitched with patches from poker runs, roadside bars, and at least one night that ended in a Denny's parking lot, minus your left boot and most of your dignity. Oil leaks, not a problem. They're personality traits. That stain on the driveway? Heritage. You own more Harley gear than your local dealership. Bandana? Check. Fingerless gloves? Obviously. Bluetooth shades that haven't worked since Sturgis 2016? Essential. Critics joke about $40,000 noise machines for boomers with back problems. But when a rider's stranded on the roadside, who stops? The Harley guy, still wearing chain grease from last weekend's fix. You don't ride to escape life. You ride because nothing else rumbles like this. You are thunder on wheels, the leather-clad middle finger to father time. Speed isn't the point, presence is. While sport bike kids chase lap times, you chase sunsets. And long after the echo fades, the road remembers. Harley riders are known for their rumbling pride and leather-clad loyalty. They don't just ride, they represent, showing up like the loud uncles of motorcycling who always bring a story and a shot of whiskey. But there is one, and only one, a group that makes even Harley riders pause mid-sentence and mutter, "Damn!" Because they aren't just loud, they're unhinged. They don't ride for rebellion. They ride like the laws of physics are just suggestions. Brace yourself. Here come the Kawasaki riders. Number 1, Kawasaki Ownership. You don't ride a Kawasaki, you launch it. Straight out of a parking lot, across 4 lanes of traffic, and into a group chat labeled, "Watch this." You didn't buy a motorcycle, you bought a lime green missile, fueled by monster and questionable decisions. Your motto? If it ain't redlining, it ain't running. You hit 13,000 RPM before your tires hit 3rd gear, or before your brain finishes booting up. Cold start? Never heard of her. You treat tunnels like concert halls, and on-ramps like launch pads. Speed limits? More like personal challenges. Your squad rolls deep, mirrored visors, race leathers, and vape clouds dense enough to ground aircraft. Group chat ratio, 70% GoPro crashes, 30%, "Yo, is this frame supposed to look like that?" Your bike's in the shop again. Was it a recall, a minor loop out, a curb stunt gone philosophical? Doesn't matter. You're already scrolling Facebook Marketplace for your next ninja-shaped bad idea. Even your paint job screams for attention. Nuclear green fairings, chrome decals, and an anime helmet wrap. You don't want to blend in, you want to be seen, heard, uploaded. Preferably in 60 FPS with a caption that ends in "Bro sent it." Yes, the Ninja 250 gets roasted until you're knee down in Crocs doing triple digits past a school zone. Then it's fear, respectful fear. You live like tire tread is optional and Thursdays are a meth. Just ease up, all right? We'd rather roast you than memorialize you. The story doesn't end here. Tap the video that just popped up and come along for the next part. Let's keep the momentum going.